Day 3. Walkie, 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 walkie. Guess where this one's at? Up here. Gonna have to be responsible. Whoops. I'm knocking things over. That was that one. This is Master of Time. I'll throw it over there for a second. Put that up. I know you're not staring at anything of any interest. Sorry I don't have a nice house. It is what it is, though. Open this. Help me open it. Thank you. Trying not to show you the pattern, though you're not going to be able to see much of the pattern. I think this was a, whatchamacallit? One of my WIP goes already. So, quite a bit filled in. See if I can't get you a photo. Oh, yay, it's right there. Maybe I should turn it over to begin with. Master of Time. Yay! Steampunk kitty cat. Yeah. But that's where I'm starting at. I should be able to do a stitch with me. Unless something weird happens and I just don't got time to do the setup. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. But, yeah. I'll see you in a sec. Hopefully get started with a stitch with me. See you in a sec. And here we are. Giving it a go again. Day 3. Seen the dice roll. And we're gonna get that 25 minutes in. I'm again not really sure what I'm going to talk about. I do need to spend a moment to figure out where exactly I'm at and what exactly I'm doing. Which I probably should have figured out before I did this. Okay, had to look at the time so I kind of knew what, you know, when I'm supposed to stop and stuff, so. Okay. Okay, I now know what I'm working on. Oh, that was a boring time for you. Apologize for that. But me remembering to do things like kind of figure out where I'm at prior to getting on here. Yeah, maybe I'll learn that by the end of the month. Who knows? Probably not, though. This is me we're talking about. Yeah, sorry. Pattern. It's a very, there's like 9 pages or something. So you're seeing a very small portion of the pattern. Good luck to you if you really want to figure out the pattern from that. You will probably not be able to accomplish that. Most of the pattern will be hidden. So we should be fine. Anywho. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to talk about. Didn't really come up with anything for today. I've still been watching whatchamacallit. Okay, sorry. Trying to figure out the pattern. Mad props to all of those of you who do this on like a weekly or monthly basis. Like, seriously, seriously impressive. Yeah. I'm just doing this as is. Trying to figure out how to read the pattern at the same time as, you know, doing this, which means I'm talking slower than usual, and I already talk slow, so that could be interesting. I think it might be just kind of getting started. I feel like I did okay yesterday. I did have random things to talk about. I can talk about BTS again, which will probably get most people running from my channel. But yeah. Oh, I changed the setup of the camera. I have it setting off to the side before I had it sitting up front, and I think it put a weird angle on it, so I'm trying it sideways. And I feel like getting a little bit better angle. I feel like I might be kind of, you know, tipsy-ish looking, but if you saw me in real life, that'd seem normal. Anywho, yeah, actually not a whole lot to talk about with BTS. Military service looks like they're not going to be exempt, which I can see why. I can understand why. Do I want them to be? Well, if I felt like they were going to produce the same music that they've been producing, yeah, I'd want them to be. But I feel like they have moved into the 1% and are going to be quite out of touch with the average Joe just because of a massively different lifestyle than, you know, what the rest of us have. So sometimes I wonder if maybe the military service is best for them. It's really hard to say. Have to keep track. But yeah. Very, very weird. Very different in comparison to the US. Because we are so much bigger and we don't have such a threat the way South Korea does when it comes to their need for military. So, again, it's always just what it is. I don't feel like we're going to be getting the same music from BTS as we have in the past. We're doing solo work. Loved J-Hope. If you have not watched J-Hope Lollapalooza performance, go watch it. I might have said this before. I've probably said this before. I will say it again. I've watched it like a dozen times at least. It's great. And I just, this is me, people. These are the things I love. I've still been watching a ton more of the Unsolved No More. He has got several years worth of backlog. He's currently in LA filming something, from what I believe, or possibly filming something for some sort of other show, which is cool. He's just very, he can be grumpy. Oh my gosh, he can be grumpy, which can be annoying. I get it. I can be grumpy quite frequently and have a huge desire to be most of the time. So, who am I to complain about that? But I feel like he's got a lot of the same values and thought processes that I do. So, while I am not somebody who's ever been a detective and can't deduce a crime scene the way he can. And I'm not always going to necessarily agree with him. And he's a detective. He's not a forensic scientist, so he can only go by the concept of what forensics he has been notified of and stuff like that. I would want to rely a lot more on forensics, which just can't be done. I mean, forensics aren't always there. That's just the way it is, you know? Yeah. But, very thankful for what Paul Holes did. Paul Holes, for those of you who do not know, is the guy who was instrumental in catching the Golden State Killer. And he is the one that brought genetic genealogy to the forefront. So we are forever grateful for him. The thing I love most right now with forensic genealogy is that they are really working hard to start utilizing it to try and find out who some of the Jane and John Does are, which I absolutely love. My Amazon Smile is set up so that, you know, it donates a few cents to the DNA Doe Project. If you are ever looking for a charity to donate to, I definitely suggest DNA Doe Project. If I ever do some sort of charity thing on here, which I'd love to, I have like 300 followers and like maybe 50 of them actually watch, so until I get more followers, there's no point in doing anything like that. But if I ever get to that point, a DNA Doe Project, something I would definitely like to put some charity work into. You know, because I mean, they're unknown. We don't know who they are. Sometimes remains found aren't victims of a crime, they're just unknown. And I think it's good for the family to be able to get the opportunity. I left my scissors somewhere. That's lovely. Don't judge me. Please don't judge me. I usually have them sitting like right here off to the side, like right over here. But I removed things so that I could do this. Yes, I used my clippers. And no, they're not dirty. I wipe down clippers after I use them because they're used to clip your toenails and your fingernails, you know? You want to wipe them down when you're done so that they're clean for the next time you use them. You know? Am I just weird? Am I the only one that's like, oh, I should wipe these down? I don't know. But since I wipe them down, I know they're clean. So I don't mind using them. So don't judge me. Actually, you're allowed to judge me if you want. I don't really care. Go for it. I will not stop you from judging me. I'm not going to judge you. That seems quite pointless. But anyways, back to DNA Doe Project. Yeah, you know, they're not always victims of crimes. Sometimes they're just people that were homeless and they, you know, succumb to elements, or maybe they're victims of things like drug overdoses and stuff like that. But they still have family out there, and, you know, people are still looking for them. They're still sometimes missing people, you know, to somebody. Excuse the cough. I need I need a drink. I'm not used to talking. I don't talk an extended period of time all that much. You'll notice my voice probably going hoarse, or I'm not a talker. But yeah. You know, and while genetic genealogy is just amazing for, I need to find a different piece of paper that I forgot that I was gonna need. Oh my gosh, I have to show you the ridiculousness of this pattern. It's Russian pattern, which is nothing wrong with Russian patterns, but this confused me. These are full crosses, 1 stitch with 2 threads. These are full crosses, blended, 1 ply of each color. Here is half cross, 1 color, 1 thread. And if you see 2 numbers, that's just because it's in 2 different slots. It's the same color. Here is just a half cross stitch. And it's 1 color, 2 threads. Here is a half cross blend, so 1 ply of each color. It took me forever reading this because of the translation. Blending is accomplished by using 1 ply of each color. Blending is okay. At some point I realized that these were half crosses, not full crosses. I don't know why. Attention, you have to embroider by half cross with 2 threads. You have to literally read these in 2 separate parts to figure it out. It was ridiculous. So I had to write it in a way in which I understood it. And, you know, I mean, lost in translation, I understand that. But still. Anyways, back to DNA dough project. But yeah, genetic genealogy, like, it's great that it solves crimes. It's so great that it solves crimes. I'm not going to deny that. Let's go for the diamond. Oh yay. Number 13. I don't know what numbers or where. Okay, this one should be it. But the fact that it is being able to be used for so much more is, I'm just super excited about. Sorry. These are short Russian kit. I call it Russian kit because I literally don't know the name of it. I would give you the name of it if I knew the name of the maker. It's this. And that's all I can tell you. I don't know what that is. It seems like it's in English rather than Russian. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's in Russian. No, the bottom part's in Russian. I don't know. It doesn't seem to actually have translated the name. It's translated everything else. So, if you can figure out what that is and you know, let me know. I will be more than happy to actually write and say the actual name. But yeah, no. I do enjoy missing. I don't enjoy missing persons. That's the wrong way to explain that. One thing I like to watch is missing persons, because there's still possibility of them being out there and being found and finding their way back home, and I think I like that element of hope. And I like when missing persons are found, even if they're found deceased, because there is closure. There's some level of closure for missing persons, you know, when that happens. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to thread this needle, and I am doing a horrible job at it. Usually not this bad. I think the lighting's a little bit off. Maybe I can blame it on that. We'll blame it on that. How's that sound? Anywho, yeah. So, missing person cases definitely intrigue me. There's a podcast called The Vanished, which likes to shed light on a lot of old cases that are just stagnant quite often. They're, you know, people aren't really looking at them. They like to shed light on a lot of cases that just go unnoticed simply because we are a society that seems to think that the only people that are worth mentioning when they go missing are young, beautiful white women. You know, that's the story narrative that sells the newspapers, right? And lots of people go missing. In fact, your higher risk people are the ones that go missing most often. And your minorities and stuff like that. And they need to be pushed to the forefront, because without them being noticed, it just makes it so much easier for people like that, people that are high risk and people that are in bad situations and stuff like that, to go missing. A lot of serial killers have specifically targeted women like sex workers, simply because they are less likely to be noticed when they're missing. And that's where we as a society have definitely been going wrong, you know? When somebody goes missing, like, everybody needs to push it to the front, you know? Gary Ridgway, he was Green River Killer. Most definitely targeted sex workers. In fact, there was a sex worker who had been interviewed. Like, literally, she had been interviewed. And the police were telling them to, you know, stay off the streets for their own safety. And she was just like, I can't. This is how I make my money. If I don't make money, I can't pay rent. You know? It wasn't, you know, it's just not always an option. And yeah, it's not a safe environment, but that doesn't mean that we should be blaming them for becoming a victim. And I feel like victim blaming is way too big of a thing in the basically in in the modern world. We want to believe that we control the things that we cannot, and that's where we go wrong. It causes us to think less of others, and it causes us to do things like victim blaming. We don't notice the importance of people based on, you know, who they really are versus the circumstances that they've gotten into. We want to think that we have control. We want to think that, oh, we'll have plenty of money in our life if we work hard. Well, no. I mean, I think most of us know that person that is 60, 70 years old, still working a labor job, because they're still struggling to pay the bills because they were never able to move up or move further than that in their life. Even though they've worked hard their entire life, even though they've worked multiple jobs their whole life, even though they've done all the things that they were supposed to, they still didn't get anywhere. And maybe it's because they were never afforded the opportunity. Maybe it's because they were never really thought of as somebody that could move into something like a management position. I know when I was working like convenience store, Family Dollar, stuff like that, I had tried to move into management positions and was usually given some sort of excuse. And I always thought, man, I've got such bad luck, you know? My mom's managed to be able to do it, my sister's managed to be able to do it, and they're so lucky. They're always in the right place at the right time, you know? These things happen, and they happen to be working there, and oh, they can, you know, move up, and I just can't. And you know, so and so thought I was moving, so she gave the management position to someone else. And now that I'm in my 40s and I look back at that, I'm like, yeah, there's the difference between bad luck and somebody just giving you an excuse. People did not see me as the right type of person to be in a management position. And that's kind of depressing and hard, and you know, it means that I was really focusing on doing things that weren't the right thing for me. And you can do that for 60, 70 years and not realize that you should be doing something else in order to advance your position. You grow up being told, you know, all you have to do is work hard and, you know, move up. Maybe moving up isn't the thing that you can do. Maybe it's not the thing that you're talented at. I've been trying to make Etsy and eBay work recently for myself. And, you know, it's growing, but very slowly. Maybe I'm not putting the time and effort into it that I should be. But I'm focusing in on it and spending a lot of time doing it and really pushing myself to try and make it work, because I feel like I can. I feel like I have enough intelligence at least to do it. Maybe I'm wrong about that, who knows? I could be wrong about that. I've come to realize in my 40s that I am not as intelligent as I thought I was when I was younger. So yeah, that's a little embarrassing. I do tend to, I don't know, I guess think higher of myself than I should. I started my Patreon, and I really put a lot of work into it, and I was just like, oh, nobody's just gonna want to do a you know, Grime Guard of the Month Club. Nobody's gonna want just that. And oh, why would anybody do the Patreon for me just to see extra videos from me? Hardly anybody watches that. But you know, if I combine the two, you know, I'll give people double the value, you know. They get both, and you know, they can join a community and make friends, and oh, it'll just be amazing. And I honestly was thinking more of the community aspect of it. I love the idea of, oh, you know, here's people that's going to join, and there's going to be people, and I'm going to be meeting people and talking to people, and oh, it's going to be really cool. I'm going to have a bunch of online friends that are part of the cross-stitch community, and and then nobody joined. And yeah, failure is failure. And you're going to do it. So I have to constantly remind myself that maybe I'm not great at coming up with good ideas. Maybe I'm not as smart as I think I am. And the truth of the matter is, from what I can tell, apparently I'm not as smart as I thought I was. But guess I'm trying. Like, there's something to be said for personally for you in your life. I might not be able to accomplish the things that I'm wanting to accomplish. I might not have the skill set to work hard and work my way up in a job the way most people can. But the value comes in like finding something else to do with your life, and even if you can't completely accomplish the things you wanted to accomplish, you're working towards learning about it and growing at it. And sure, there's depression if you don't accomplish it. There's a definite sadness when you basically fail. But I grew up with family that never wanted me to try anything because they knew I wasn't as intelligent as I thought I was, and they knew failure was most likely going to be what happened to me. But, don't you think that there's some value in encouraging people to try rather than just discouraging them so that they don't? I think that's where I stand on that, you know? Just trying makes it worth it, even if you fail. That is where I stand. And since it has been 25 minutes, I'm gonna leave you with that. If there's something you are thinking that you're going to fail at, and it's so funny because I think I went from talking about serial killers to talking about trying, you know? Maybe if you have a desire to be a serial killer, don't try it. That's something that I'd like you to avoid doing. In fact, if you have a desire to become a serial killer, strong suggestion, see a therapist. But for those of the rest of us, you know, that was the thing. I was talking about Paul Holes and his trying the genetic genealogy. And because he tried it when nobody else was, we now have a system that is helping to find missing people and is helping to give people back their names and helping to bring closure to families. You might fail at 99% of the things you try. You might just do that 99.9% of the things you try. But those little successes, even if it's a tiny success, are so gratifying and feel so good that when you do have that success, all those other horrible failures are just so worth it because of that one success. So, yeah. Keep trying. And that's where I'm going to leave this. And sorry for such a random discussion, because, well, that's the way my brain works. brain work, not my brand, my brain. I have a brain, not a brand, I have a brain. That's the way my brain works. These will probably be much more stream of consciousness unless I specifically write down a topic to talk about with like notes to keep me on track. I will not be able to keep on track because I don't have that skill set. So ending that here, and I will see you later. Bye.